All right, so we're back again. Second week of December. Went ahead and made the first video last week, just highlighting top 5 stocks according to StockTwits. As you can see, basically all we're doing is taking these top 5 stocks as well as the S&P, and we're gonna analyze them, every day or every other day. So last week we talked about my prediction of how the SPX or S&P would be around 410, 413 to be exact. And then I said the market had probably peaked right there. Across all of my charts, we go over to the SPY specifically. I have a lot of different charts that pretty much all say the same thing. As you can see here, here's one of the things I analyze. This is a bullish case right here where the market could potentially test the previous high range and then end up rejecting headed into 2024. That's a pretty long-term view. If we look at our short-term charts, such as our post-COVID, I posted this a while ago on StockTwits, basically highlighting the same thing as the SPX chart. We would probably head all the way up to 411.79. We ended up hitting 410, and now we're getting a huge rejection. I said go ahead and exit around that area. And as you can see, my future projection is if we end up rejecting here, 334 is likely. We'll probably break this previous low and end up testing right when we broke that pre-COVID range. I believe that's our next target. So right around here, and that'll be early 2023. That's kind of where we're at right now. You still kind of got to be hesitant. Like I said last time, we might not just immediately drop from this range, but I did say that I think we peaked right around that 410 level. So that's that. Let's go ahead and dive into the other stocks. So the number one trending stock on StockTwits was MMTLP. Yeah, we had an interesting move a few months ago back in October, and this thing is down 14%. So this is a loser. I really like this setup because we're holding this huge candle right here. All right, the base is 685. Right now we're trading at 711. While this thing might not fly, I'm not sure what the news was, but for it to have dropped 13% and still be sitting above that 685 level, I think that's pretty bullish for this stock. But at the same time, the market is pretty unpredictable. So if one day it decides not to hold this level, you're looking at 417, which is a 40% drop off. I think that will come pretty easily, but that will still be relatively bullish for the stock. I would personally be a buyer underneath 417. So at some point right here, and I would just play that rebound back to 417. As you can see, it will be a 40-50% trade. I'll be very comfortable using a stop loss a little bit underneath that 417 level and just playing a rebound. But if you want to take a gamble right now, ideally you want to see it continue to hold 685, and then you want to target 1487 if my numbers are correct. But holy crap, you got quite some potential right there. As you can see, 110% off the highs. Off the highs, we are at about 82% away. So quite a bit of upside here, but also quite a bit of downside. I personally wouldn't want to play this unless there's a huge pending catalyst. In that case, you could see some future growth or further growth. Otherwise, I would be a little hands off there until it collapses, and then I would just play the rebound once everybody gets scared. So Root was number 2. We talked about Root last week. First of all, we said that it was trading at that supply zone that we marked right there. This is why I love supply zones, because it's an easy way to decide if you want to chase a stock or leave it alone. So this was trading at supply last week, and we got a huge 7% rejection directly in that zone. We also drew this pattern. I don't really like pattern trading, but ideally you would have wanted to see it, rise to the top at this top line resistance. And we said it could potentially, drop out of this pattern or it could make a base right here and then continue up to the upside. In that case, I think it would probably return within this little range up here. But as you can see, actually though, today's close marked a break of that trend that we talked about last week as well. So we had a very nice trend forming here, and then with today's close we broke that, so that's a warning sign. And also, like we said last week, this thing was trading at 50 on the RSI, which for this stock pretty much signals that it's overbought. So definitely, ideally don't want to chase this one because we see root to no for me, EH. So EH has been a huge mover for most of November, and it's starting December extremely strong. So I'm actually going to look at this from a longer term perspective to see what kind of stock this is. Okay, so this is another young stock, and it's also an ADR, so that means it's a overseas stock. It's not a part of the New York Stock Exchange. But yeah, I'm mainly looking at this candle right here in October of 2020. We're going to go ahead and use our strategy. So as you can see, we broke that range. The bottom is going to be around $8, $7.98. And we're right on that. Okay. We're right on that price level. So you can see it's acted as a resistance on the previous run up a few months ago. And now we're back there with a lot of momentum. And it looks like this is a gap as well. So you have to keep your eye on this level here. So yeah, I want to set an alert for around $8 to see just what happens there. At minimum, considering we've had this strong move for the past 2 days, the stock is definitely going to have a breather, and that breather could potentially send it all the way back down here, about 30% down to the downside. So that's another one I wouldn't really want to chase. If it continues up, I mean, you're looking at 1454. You got to just ask yourself, does this thing have the strength to continue up 90% after it just went up 63%? So this one's a no for me as well. Ford, so we already got some analysis for Ford. I'm gonna go ahead and just set up a new one because I haven't looked at this stock in a while. So Ford came off those lows. This was a great performance stock last year. It was all the way at almost $30, $25, and then just completely collapsed. Now here we are getting a little bit of a bounce. So right off the bat, what this looks like to me is this stock is potentially forming a lower high. Okay, so it's going to be bullish right now because it's forming that lower high, but it doesn't look bullish long term. That's the main thing. So with this one, we're going to go ahead and play this break of the range in October of 2021. That's going to be our key candlestick. And as you can see, once again, where are we rejecting? The bottom of that formation, 14.16. We're already seeing strong selling there. We saw strong selling at the previous quarter. So let's go ahead and drop down to our lower time frames to see exactly what's going on there. So very, very strong resistance there, but it's not necessarily losing a ton of market cap. You know, sellers are, or buyers are keeping it in this vicinity of 14.16. So maybe this could break out and, you know, test the previous highs all the way up to potentially 17.47. Like I said, this is a lower high forming. So unless there's some news that's really negative. As you can see, it's down 3% today. Maybe it's not done. Maybe it's not done. Specifically, let's just take a look at the, see if we can identify I feel like this video is way longer. We could identify a supply zone up here. So it's going to be right around this area underneath 1747. And we tested that area, actually right around here. We tested this area already once, twice. Can we do it the third time? I don't like betting past the second time. Preferably, I like to play the first break of supply. So down here, I would have played it and targeted right up here, you know, underneath 1747. Now's the third time, so it could happen or it could not. This is kind of the trend line that I'm getting. So this one, I don't really know about this one. It's already been battle tested multiple times. So let's take a look at BCRX. Last but not least. All right, so this is a pharmaceutical. You can see that in the name. So extremely choppy stock. This one's down 10% today. Usually with biotechs, it's like these things drop either 50% in a day or they just do nothing. So I'm surprised to see it drop 9%. I wonder why. We could probably go all the way back to the IPO in 1994 if this is the same stock and it hasn't switched. So 925 is support, 1619 is a resistance. You can see multiple times 1619 has acted, or that area has acted as a resistance, especially if we take off our wicks. You can see a rejection there. And now we have a lot of momentum, a huge reversal right here. So this could potentially be a decent trade. 1619 will be your target, 40%. So if you're making 40, ideally you want to risk like 10% minimum. You would want to enter right now, set your stop for like 1050, and you know, basically just bet on this thing to continue. Let's go down to the daily chart. As you can see, there's really no trend forming here though. That's the bad thing. There's no trend forming. So in order for something like that to happen, maybe you have a channel though. So yeah, a bit of a channel. And it's kind of starting to form a bottom right here, which I like. So maybe you get in right there. Like I said, you know, play a 10% stop loss and basically hope for good news to send this thing up to 1619, which has been a resistance for multiple years. All right, guys, so we'll wrap it up there. This video was a little bit longer. Hope you guys found some value in it. I noticed like people viewed it last week. It got like 3 views. I'm not sharing it right now because I'm just trying to get in the flow of creating these videos in the first place. So eventually, once I'm more comfortable, I'll get these out and, you know, actually start to like properly produce the videos. But for the people that are viewing, if you guys want me to review a stock or something, just, you know, comment it. You know, I didn't know people were gonna like find the videos. But that's it for today, guys. Thank you for tuning in, if you are. Peace.